This meeting is being recorded.
Hello, folks. My daughter and I are standing in for Marcia.
Okay, terrific.
Hi.
Nice to
So
see you, Jerry, but we're going to ask everybody to go ahead and mute for now.
I just out of curiosity, are the number of people signed up more than normal?
Yes.
It varies a lot, but at this point,
I posted on LinkedIn, I had 300 people click on the link for the cooking thing today.
Wow.
that's terrific. Thank you so much.
I'll mute now.
Okay, thanks, Jerry.
All right, well, it is 4 o'clock, and I'm sure we'll have some people that will be joining us as we move along. But let's go ahead and get started. I want to give everybody a very, very warm welcome. Thank you so much for joining us on this special Kind Soups edition for World Kindness Day. My name is Denise, and I'm the board chair for KindWorks. And we are just so excited about this Kind Soups project. You know, we started it at the beginning of the pandemic 2.5 years ago. And so far, we've given away well over 7,000 quarts of soup. So thank you to everyone who's been a part of that. And thank you to all of you who will become a part of it by cooking with us for the first time today. You know, the soups are delivered to a variety of organizations that help those in need in our community, and to friends and family who just need to receive a gesture of kindness. We cook every Monday from 5:30 to 6:30 on Zoom, and we encourage you to come back and join us for one of those sessions. And also I encourage you to visit our website, which is www.dokindworks.org, because we have plenty of projects that fill other community needs and spread other kinds of kindness. So again, I encourage you to learn about those. But today we are all about the soup, and we're super excited about our special guest, Katie Ledecky. Right now, I'd like to introduce Dominique Reichlich. She's our leader today, and Dominique is a great leader in KindWorks and a great cook. She has invited many kind workers into her kitchen over the years for various projects, and we're so happy that she's invited us into her kitchen today. I know you're going to love the recipe and have fun cooking it, so have a lot of fun today cooking, and also deciding where you're going to share the soup and share the kindness. So I'll turn it over to Dominique.
Hi, it's so nice to meet you all. Thank you so much for joining us today. I've done so many wonderful projects with KindWorks, and I have to say I love this one because I love cooking with people. It was a great way to connect during the pandemic, but still it is. And so on Mondays, we cook a wonderful soup for ourselves, with friends, chatting while we cook, have a meal for our household, and then can give them to a neighbor, somebody with a new baby, a shelter. And I want to encourage anybody who likes this and wants to come back. You can participate from anywhere in the world. So if you have friends you want to connect with doing service together, please invite them to come on Mondays. I'm looking forward to cooking this soup. It is one of the favorites of all the Kind soup recipes we've done over the last few years. And it's a really warming, delicious, nurturing soup. So let's go ahead and get our oil heating up so that we can start to get the recipe going. I'm making 2 versions today. I was on Fox 5 yesterday talking about this, and they had lovely support staff. And one of the people I was interfacing with was vegetarian. And so I gave the staff the quarts of soup that I had, but I had made a chicken broth based one. So today, and I didn't have it, everybody wanted it. I didn't have enough quarts. So some of this soup is going to go in my freezer, and next weekend I'm going to drop it off for the staff, including a vegetarian version. Deb was saying you can make it vegan by using nutritional yeast in place of the Parmesan and water in place of the milk. So please adjust it as you wish. I always say my big soup motto is soup is forgiving, and cooking is forgiving, except baking. You can't be too fast with the chemistry of baking. But for instance, I called Deb and I said, what does it mean smashing or smearing the garlic? And she said, oh, you take a knife and you rub it and it releases the aroma. And I thought, I'm just going to use a garlic press. And a lot of times I use chopped garlic for things like soups, from Costco. So I'm a big believer in cooking being easy. For my broths, I'm using Better Than Bouillon. There's a lot of different ways to make broth, and you can use water as well. So feel free to adjust the recipe to your own taste and make it as easy as you want, because it's forgiving. Does anybody have any questions? Post them in the chat. Deb will read them out, and we'll get going. My oil is just about hot enough. I'm going to put in my shallots now, my garlic, and the pepper. I love shallots. They're so fragrant. Actually, I was stinking up the studio because I had to have all my ingredients out, and the whole studio smelled like shallots. But everybody liked it.
I just want to say that was more than 5 minutes of prep time.
Well, for this quantity, it is, it's a little prep time. That's true.
Dominique, there's a question about how big to chop the shallots.
Let's see. I'll show you mine. Here we go. Can you see?
Yeah, decent sized chunks.
Yeah.
Okay.
The soup, it's going to absorb the flavor. There are
And
those
then
cute
another
little
question is how much red pepper flakes?
Oh dear. I don't know. I did it by eye. I'll show you what I'm doing. And you can, if you like it hot, feel free to put more. But if you're giving a lot away, I wouldn't make it too hot. So I don't know. I'm going to say maybe half a teaspoon. Can you see that?
Yep.
Oh my God, it smells so good. I gotta press my garlic. I didn't press it in advance, so.
And I see that Katie has signed on. So can we talk while we're doing this busy part, or shall we wait? Katie,
Yes,
shake your head yes or no if you're in a bit of a rush, or if you've got a couple of minutes to let the shallots cook down.
Let's let the shallots cook down, and in about 3 or 4 minutes, put in your butter and then stir in the orzo. We're doing this on medium heat, and you're going to watch the orzo and stir it occasionally so that it gets a little golden. That'll take us a little bit. So let's just prep. And I'll try to watch the chat, and I can respond to questions in the chat while Katie is chatting with us, and we're so excited.
So excited. All right, then we are going to, I'd like to actually ask Julie Garrell, who is one of our chairs of one of our projects called Kind Communities, to join me. I am looking for Julie so I can pin her, and she's going to help us have a chat with Katie while you all are prepping your soups. So 1 second while I find Julie.
I'm waving at you and everybody.
You are. There you are.
Well, you can hear me, right?
Yes.
Nice to see you. Everybody, this is Julie, the chair of our Kind Communities project.
Hi, everyone. Hi, Katie. Welcome.
Hi, thanks for having me. I was going to say I'm good on time. I actually already made my soup, so I got a little bowl here, but I still have to taste test it.
Oh, that you did. When did you cook it?
Just an hour ago.
Oh, that's so fun. Well, hold on, because you're taking away my introduction. I would like to tell everyone that Katie is a 3-time Olympic swimmer, U.S. Olympic swimmer, 10-time Olympic medalist, 7 gold and 3 silver. 19-time world champion, 16-time world record breaker, a Stanford University graduate, and our very own Bethesda native. Welcome, Katie Ledecky. We're so honored to have you here today.
Thank you. I'm happy to be here. And I see some of my family is on as well. My mom and my grandma and some aunts and uncles. So everyone wanted to get in on the soup today.
How fun.
That's
There
great.
are mom and grandma.
Katie, well, it's World Kindness Day. We don't want to ignore your incredible list of accomplishments, but we're gonna dive in. I'm sorry, pun intended, on the subject of kindness. And for those of us who follow you on social media and in the news, we recall one of your posts, and you were actually alluding to the fact that kindness is the new cool. I don't know if you remember that. But even if you don't, just tell us a little bit about what comes to mind or what you were thinking when you suggested that kindness is the new cool.
So I actually have this t-shirt that I'm wearing right now that
Okay.
says kind is the new cool. And I had a photo in this shirt and I posted it on a Monday and, put out a little Monday message, just kind is the new cool. And I was kind of blown away by the response, just like the number of comments of people in agreement or saying different things about kindness and the things that they were doing for their friends or in their communities. And I think it's such a great message that kind is the new cool. I think it's, important to find ways to help other people. And that's why I really love what this organization is doing in my hometown. So kudos to all of you for putting this together during the pandemic and continuing it to this day.
That's great. Thank you. Well, let's talk about your hometown roots a little bit. I'm sure there were numerous instances in which you felt, supported and learned important life lessons in addition to your fundamentals of, swimming and training. Tell us a little bit about some of your experiences, and even if kindness is a theme, weave that in. Just how were you informed, having come up through the swim system in this area?
Yeah, I mean, I went to Little Flower School, pre-K through 8th grade, and I see some thumbs up. And I went to Stonebridge School of the Sacred Heart for high school. And those two communities were terrific. And I still feel very connected to a lot of my friends and teachers and classmates from those schools. And then I swam for the nation's capital swim club. And I would say that my schools and my swim club always emphasized service and giving back to others, giving back in our own communities. So, I mean, from Little Flower, I remember there was a Meals for the Homeless program that my mom participated in, I think monthly, where we would make lasagna, and I would help my mom out with that. And then through high school, we had social action days at Stonebridge, where every other Wednesday, you don't have normal classes and you get to go out in the community to different sites and learn about these different organizations and then really work. So my freshman year, you go to all different sites. So you go to an elderly home, you go to a soup kitchen, you go to a school, just you learn all about different ways of helping other people. And then your junior and senior year, you get to pick where you go. So I went to Bikes for the World, which is an organization in the DC, Maryland area that collects used bikes, and they kind of compact them to be able to fit them into trucks, and they ship them to developing countries, and then the developing countries receive the bikes, and they have it creates jobs in those countries to fix the bikes up, and then the bikes are used to getting to school, getting water, getting food. So that was a really great organization. But yeah, I would say that I learned a lot about kindness from my teachers and my classmates through those experiences at Little Flower and at Stone Ridge. And then I've felt really connected to the Bethesda area, even as I went off to school at Stanford on the West Coast. And now I'm in Florida, down in Gainesville training. But I still feel very connected to everyone in Bethesda. So it's fun to be able to connect with some of you right now. And, I think those lessons that I learned from a young age about kindness and about service, I've tried to remember as best I can in my new communities and find ways to engage with my new communities and give back in my new home. But Bethesda's always home.
That's
Good. We want
fantastic.
to, we feel a little ownership of you. So we're glad to hear you say that.
I'm good with that.
Okay, good. Julie, if I could interrupt for 1 second, we need to get back to the soup, but we're going to come right back to you two ladies, okay?
Sounds
Don't
good.
go anywhere. Somebody's asking in the chat about whether or not to drain the beans, Dominique.
Yes, I drain them and give them a quick rinse, but you don't really have to. So, and my Orzo is still browning a little bit. We're trying to get it a little bit golden. It'll give it a little bit of a nutty flavor. And just so you know, the next thing will be to put in the broth or the water and bring to a boil over high heat and add salt and pepper. And Cheryl said that she's used a mixture of Orzo and small pasta shells, and soup is forgiving, and that is the truth.
Okay, and
I
somebody
will
else.
mention this soup gets quite thick, and then you're going to add the milk. But when you have it overnight in the fridge, it's going to be thickening again because of the Orzo. So you can put a little note saying you can thin it. Back to Katie. I'm really enjoying it.
Great. And I would invite participants to submit questions via chat for Katie. So if there's
I'm glad that you're saying soup is forgiving, because I had to make a couple of adjustments on mine.
Oh, tell us about them.
I split the recipe in half because my pot could only contain half. So I didn't quite have enough chicken broth. So I added a little bit of water to make up for that.
Yeah.
And then I forgot to get pesto. So I just added some basil leaves.
Perfect. And you ate it already, or you haven't tried it yet?
I haven't tried it yet.
Okay, fun.
We're going to stay tuned for your taste test.
Yes.
Yes.
Julie, I think Salma has a question. Can she?
Great. That'd be perfect. Salma, please.
So I'll just give a quick introduction to Salma, who is KindWorks Chief Inspiration Officer. We do it a little differently than the big corporations. We have a Chief Inspiration Officer. Salma?
Hey, everyone. And hi, Katie. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Oh, great. Okay. Well, I was hoping to join you all from my kitchen, but I'm actually at Suburban Hospital. But all is well. All is well. Just a family situation which has resolved itself beautifully. So I thought I'd just hop on and say hello and share some, hope and some kindness. And just ask you a question, Katie. I mean, you are such an incredible inspiration to so many of us and to so many young people around the world. And I just wondered, what message would you like to convey, especially to young girls and to young women, about whether it's about kindness or about just going for the gold as you do so beautifully. And congratulations on a recent world record breaking amazing things that you've done. So just a message that you'd like to share.
Sure. Yeah, I would say, the message that I try to share with young kids is to find something that you really, really love and try to be the very best that you can be at it. I found from a young age that I really enjoyed swimming, and I started setting bigger and bigger goals for myself to try to be the best that I could be. And I think it doesn't have to be in swimming. It doesn't have to be in a sport. It can be in a subject in school. It can be in an extracurricular activity. it could be cooking, something that you really enjoy. If you find that from a young age, I think it's a lot of fun to go all in and try to set your eyes on something big. So that's what my message would be to any young kid.
That's awesome. Thank you.
Back to Julie.
Great. I have my own questions, but I see a wonderful question in the chat. Oh, I better ask it before it moves. There's a young person out there in the Zoom world, and this person aspires to be a professional soccer player. So Katie, can you tell us what did you have to give up to become good at your sport?
Yeah, I think there are probably some things that I've given up that I don't even really realize because it just was what I chose to do. And I didn't see a lot of things as sacrifices because I was pursuing this goal. But, I would say I woke up early in the morning every day in high school, or most days I was up at 4 o'clock in the morning. So I had to get to bed early, which meant not staying up late at night, not, going out with friends super late. And that was something that I knew I had to do to be at my best so that I could be at my best at practice in the morning and still get my homework done and all of those things. And then, I played other sports growing up as well, basketball and soccer. I never officially quit those sports. I just kind of found that I was picking swim practice over those other practices. And so ultimately I was just swimming. I played piano growing up, did some Irish dancing at times. And so at some point, those things kind of took the back seat to swimming. I still love to play the piano, and I wish that, maybe I was a little better when I was younger and I'd be a little bit better now, but hey, I can work on that now. So there's some small sacrifices along the way. I would say my parents, probably made more sacrifices than I did with the early mornings and the toll that can take. I didn't get my driver's license until after my freshman year of college. So they were the ones that had to wake up as well and drive me to early morning practice.
That's great. That's a great perspective, and the appreciation for your parents is I'm sure appreciated, and it's a really nice to be able to look back and acknowledge that it was quite a team effort. I had the same question as someone in the chat, so let me throw that out now. Can you think of some examples of some, particularly kind things that people have done for you along the way, be it, family, friends, or teachers or coaches? Just, anything that kind of comes to mind as meaningful to you.
Yeah, for sure. I would say I think back to when I won my first Olympic gold medal. I was swimming next to the reigning Olympic champion in the event. She was the heavy favorite. She was from Great Britain. The race was in London. And William and Kate were in the stands watching the race. Everyone in London was there. So there were all these expectations on her to win gold. And I was just a 15-year-old that came in and won the gold. And I'll never forget her kindness to me right after that race. Again, she could have felt like there was this huge weight on her. She, let people down or something, but she was genuinely so happy for me and very congratulatory. And I think she said something to me like she, thinks that I can take down her world record next, and that she can't wait to watch me continue to compete. And that really resonated with me and really stuck with me to the point where I think I actually wrote her a thank you note, like a note thanking her for that kindness, because I think it was my first time at that international level. And, I didn't know how my competitors would react or, anything like that. And it just struck me that she was incredibly gracious, and it was such a model of how you should act after a race. So that's one thing that really sticks out in swimming. I would say there have been so many other things from friends and family and classmates. One of my best friends made, I think, a 20-minute long video for me before my first Olympic race, with videos from all my teachers and classmates wishing me good luck. And it really made me laugh and remind me of everyone cheering me on back home. So those are just two examples, but of course there's some every day, I feel like.
That's fantastic. Thank you. I'm going to jump in with one of the questions from chat. We have a mentor out there, and it looks like the young girl she is mentoring is experiencing some bullying. And so just any thoughts from you on advice for this mentor to offer her mentee and how she can be supportive?
Yeah, that's tough. And, without knowing exactly the details of what's going on, it's maybe hard to give some specific example, but I would say as a mentor, I think just reminding the young girl that you're supportive of her, and, that she can come to you to vent, to, express frustrations, and, try to find a way to solve this issue. I think, of course, going to the adults in the room is probably a good starting point, whether that's the teachers in the situation or, some higher ups within the school administration. Of course, I think those are the individuals that should be watching out for the young girl or the young students, whatever the case may be, or maybe it's not in a school setting, but in any case, I think it's somewhat up to the adults, especially when dealing with young kids, to help find solutions to those conflicts.
Great. Yeah, thank you. Deb, do we need any soup update for the aspiring chefs and the accomplished chefs?
Everybody looks like they're busy at work. Go ahead, Dominique.
Everything is good. The next steps, if you haven't salted and peppered to taste, go ahead. And after that, you're going to stir in the beans and kale. And we're going to simmer another little bit, and then we will add in the Parmesan. But the next thing is beans and kale. And I noticed a couple of very quick questions in the chat from a 9-year-old swimmer. What is your favorite stroke? And someone else says they swim. And what do you think about when you're staring at the black line and swimming for many hours? And a third one is, how do you keep motivated over the winter months? So just three questions you can answer.
Yeah, it changes what I'm thinking about when I'm swimming. So it's not like I'm swimming hours at a time. We stop on the wall quite a bit. We swim on intervals and in training. So there's some rest time to chat with a teammate or a coach, or to listen to the music that's playing on the pool deck. The music is mostly for the coaches, but the athletes get to enjoy it every couple of minutes. We get a few seconds. But, sometimes I'm thinking about things other than swimming. Usually I'm thinking just about the swimming. I'm pretty focused on my stroke and my rhythm and all the different things that I know I need to be thinking about. And then your second question on during the winter months. Yeah, it can be difficult having that wet hair and walking out outside, especially in Maryland or somewhere a little colder, and your hair might freeze a little bit, or your gear bag might get a little cold, or it'll be extra dark in the morning, or it's dark when you walk into the pool deck in in the morning, and then it's dark when you walk out of the pool deck, off the pool deck in the evening. But yeah, I think you have to find some balance and find some other things that you enjoy to, you know, have balance in your life, not so that you don't feel like you're just at the pool and you know, working your tail off every day. You know, you've got to find some things apart from swimming to occupy your time. So I guess I'd encourage that.
My mom was a swimmer recreationally, but she could swim for an hour at a time, and she rotated strokes so she didn't get tired. And she said, I'd think about you and worry about you during the backstroke, and then I'd worry about your brother when I was doing freestyle, and then I'd worry about my brother while I was doing breaststroke. So it was not necessarily mentally healthy, but physically healthy.
I sometimes think about my family when I swim.
There's a couple of questions in the chat about nutrition and cooking for yourself and how important nutrition has been in your becoming the athlete that you are and staying at your top shape. How do you do it? What's important to you? Do you have time to cook? Do you enjoy cooking, or would you like us to have some kind soups dropped off for you down in Florida?
Yeah, so growing up, I didn't really have to think too much about food because my mom was a great cook and made sure that I was eating healthy and eating the right things. And then, you know, as you get older too, I think nutrition becomes more important as an athlete. So I've learned more and more every year. When I went off to college, that was sort of a transition because you're just eating in the dining hall. And then when I graduated or moved off campus, I did start cooking for myself, and I really enjoy it. So I do cook a lot. I don't eat out too much. So yeah, I did enjoy making the soup today. I haven't made a lot of soup, to be honest. So this might spark a new love, especially if you tell me that soup is forgiving. So yeah, I cook. You know, I cook probably. You know, dinner is kind of the one thing that I switch up the most. Usually for breakfast, I have some oatmeal or eggs. And then for lunch, I usually have a salad with chicken or steak or some leftovers. And then dinner, I have usually some chicken or steak or salmon with some vegetables or salad or pasta.
Oh, yeah, no, we're gonna need to vary things up for you. I think Monday nights with
Monday
us
night
will,
soup. Yeah,
Monday night soup is gonna be it.
there we go.
Sounds good.
So Katie, you know, you have grown up in a let me guess, a competitive world. And so it would seem at the surface level that kindness and competition might not necessarily go together. But then just listening to some of your stories, I think that's probably not true. So maybe you can paint a picture for us on how teammates might support one another, or even as your prior story, competitors might. How does kindness kind of offset the constant competitiveness against self and others?
Right. I think swimming is a pretty unique sport in that there is a lot of kindness. You know, it's not a sport where there's contact, so we're not tackling each other or running into each other or hitting each other or anything. It's a pretty individual sport, and so everyone has their own goals, and you have your own lane, and you just race as hard as you can. Of course, there is the competitive nature of it, and you when you step up on the blocks, of course you want to beat the person next to you. But typically when you finish the race, swimmers are pretty friendly with each other, and I think it just comes from respect that we have for each other and the hard work that it takes to get there. It's kind of just you know, a mutual understanding of the different kinds of training that you've gone through. So I've found that it's a really great sport in that way. Also, just thinking back to growing up, I started swimming in a summer league in Montgomery County. So in the Montgomery County Swim League, I'm sure a lot of you are familiar with that. And again, I think it's pretty unique in that there are people age probably 5 to 18 on the team. So I started when I was 6, and I really looked up to the older kids, the 18-year-olds, and of course they were super kind to the younger kids and looked out for all of us at the swim meets and the practices. And they were some of my swim coaches. My first swim coaches were swimmers on the team. So I think that's pretty unique for our sport as well. And there is quite a bit of kindness, I think, in our sport.
I love the elements within your answer, you know, the mutual respect, which is true in your sport, but can be true in any context, and the looking out for one another. Those are really nice. We have a question about what makes a good coach, and, you know, in general, what elements or characteristics of that person have been effective or most effective for you.
Yeah, I think what I always say is I think a great coach is someone who believes in you more than you believe in yourself sometimes. I think that's what I found at age 14, 15 when I was seeking to make my first Olympic team. I didn't really want to verbalize that goal to make the Olympic team, but my coach really believed that I could do it and had me verbalize that goal, and we worked towards it. And I found that with each of my coaches to this day. There have been moments where they've, you know, expressed that they believe that I can achieve something more than what I think I can achieve at that moment. And that's very encouraging. It's very exciting, and it's fun to be around coaches that are excited about what they do, are passionate about what they do, and want to help the swimmers that they coach. Again, I feel like I've been very fortunate to have coaches that haven't pushed me too hard, or maybe I don't need the push because I am pretty internally motivated, but you know, they haven't gone too far at any time. They haven't had to push in that way. They've just been very encouraging, and you know, they bring as much energy to the pool deck that the swimmers do, and so we try to bring that energy as well. And I feel like I've had some really great coaches over the years.
That's great. So lots of energy, positive energy, and honest energy, it sounds like.
Yes, that's a good way of
Awesome.
putting it.
Thank you. I think we have some college kids on this Zoom. I know I'm going to claim that a couple of them belong to me, but I think there's some others. So you were a college kid not very long ago, and a busy one at that. Any advice or perspective on how to kind of try to juggle everything?
Yeah, time management is something that I think I was always learning during high school and college. I think one of the big things I learned was how to work ahead. So when I knew I had a swim meet in a couple weeks, I would start looking ahead on the homework and trying to get that done ahead of time so that I didn't have to worry about it when I was in competition. And so that I could get good sleep going into the meet and be able to focus on those things that I wanted to focus on at the time. So I'd say working ahead. I would say communicating with your teachers or your friends, the people that will have your back or support you when you have other things come up, whether that's in athletics, if you're balancing athletics with school or some other activity. I think just communicating and being forthright about your commitments and what kind of support or adjustments you might have to make to your schedule. I think that's the second biggest thing.
That's great. I hear that kind of open honest lines of communication are very important and have been, you know, both with coaches and then with teachers and friends. So thank you for raising that. Deb or Dominique, anything we need to know about soup?
Yes, I think the next steps for the soup are going to be, it should be starting to get creamy now that the orzo is cooking down and you've added the beans. And then you're going to stir in the pesto, milk or water, depending on what you're using, the Parmesan, and both the lemon zest and the squeezed lemon. Then you're going to cook it through, and then you'll be pretty ready to eat dinner and pack things up.
Can we talk just for a minute about that packing things up, Dominique?
Yes.
So I just wanted to let everybody know, I'm sure you've seen it because you've all been on the website already, but there is a request that whatever soup you give away, you create some labels. They don't have to look like this, but they can. And they should say that you're part of, let me see if I can pin this for you. Actually, you'll see it on the website. They should say that you're part of Kind Works, making kind soup, so that they know you're not just somebody off the street putting something together and giving it away. Give your first name, your last initial, today's date, and the kind of soup you're making, and any kind of dietary information that somebody might need. So my soup is going to say that it contains dairy. If you're making yours vegan and you're using nutritional yeast and either water or the coconut milk, then you can just then you can write that it's vegan. Mine's vegetarian. If you use chicken broth, remember to say contains chicken. I like to put a heart and enjoy it on mine. And I'm going to drop mine in the free outdoor refrigerators. So I'm curious if anybody else knows how they want to give away some of their extra soups. If you just drop that in the chat, we'll share some of that today too before we hang up. And then the last thing is, when we're done making the soups, and sometime when you give away your soup, click the link on our website and tell us how many soups you gave away and where you gave them. Did you give them to a food assistance provider, either one that you found yourself or one of the ones on our website? Or did you share some with people that you know who would have, could benefit from some homemade soup and a little bit of love? Whatever the story is, we'd love to hear about it. And we'd love to know how the approximately 600 soups that we're all making and sharing today are going to be used. That would be really fun. Katie, do you have any ideas of places in Florida that may be a good soup drop off? I'm putting you on the spot because we didn't warn you about that.
No, yeah, I'm going to give some to one of my neighbors, and then I was doing some research before this to figure out where I was going to bring the rest. And there's a place at the University of Florida called the Hitchcock Field and Fork Pantry. So it looks like they accept donations of all kinds, including soup. So I'm going to give that a try. If not, I'll find somewhere else.
That's fantastic.
Hey, Deb,
Sorry, I'd like to say, sorry, go ahead, Julie.
No, Dominic, you're probably anticipating me, but there was a question in the chat about since the pesto is involved and there were pine nuts in that, should we note that it contains nuts on the label?
Sure, you could put contains pine nuts. I want to say to Katie, your kindness shines. I can tell just by watching you talk, and you're taking the time to do this, and you're taking the time to come here had a ripple effect, because we have a lot of new people on the call, and the ripple effects of these little acts of kindness, each of them is going to maybe feed 6 other households. And so not only the really great advice and thoughts you shared with us today and just your presence, but your presence is creating other ripple effects. And I think that's the really powerful thing about Kind Works and Kind Soups, is sometimes we think something we're doing is so small, but it's actually much more powerful. I had the Salma who joined us, who has someone in the hospital right now. She has made countless quarts of soup. Well, after I cooked yesterday, because I was on the news, I dropped soup off at her house. And for her, there was a joy to receiving. She said receiving is just as nice, if not nicer, than giving. And so I just want to remind everybody here that all these little small things that we do, they have an impact. Sometimes we minimize the impact of the small gestures of caring. Someone said that the last time they made this soup, they took it to a friend with terminal cancer who doesn't have a lot of appetite, and her friend ate a whole bowl, and she's taking that to her friend again after this soup making. That's huge. It's a small thing, but it's huge. And I think that's the impact that coming together. It's not only a joy for us to be here and sharing, but to then take that out into the world. So thank you, Katie, for helping us magnify that impact.
No, thank you all. I love this.
I have one question I'd like to ask, building off of Dominique's, wonderful acknowledgement of Katie, of you, and I think what everybody here is producing. Any thoughts, Katie, if you look back at just some of the maybe small ripples of kindness that were bestowed upon you and that you received along the way? Any advice or ideas for the rest of us of small things that we can pass along in addition to soup, that just might make a difference in somebody's day and might just generate more momentum for kindness?
Oh,
That's a tough one, but
yeah, no, I mean, what I always talk about in terms of the opportunities that I've had since having the Olympian title or Olympic gold medalist title, the opportunities I've had have really shown me the kind of the power of the gold medal and how it can make a lot of people smile. So I think the first time I ever put the medal around somebody else's neck, it was over at Walter Reed. It was a wounded warrior. I've since been to Children's Hospital in DC a number of times, and continued to do some Zoom visits during the pandemic. There's a great Seacrest studio at Children's Hospital that has programming for the kids in their hospital rooms, and they can come down and be on the radio show, and it gets broadcast to all the different rooms. So that's something that I've really enjoyed. But yeah, the gold medal can just really light up someone's face. And I think it always is a reminder to me that, something that might become normal to you, or something that you might not realize would make somebody else's day, can really make an impact. And so I don't know, what that is for each of you, but I think anytime you can make someone smile, it's a good feeling in return, and it definitely makes their day. So I guess just a general, try to make someone smile every day. That would be my small tip.
Oh, that's great. And you might not have noticed this, but I'm just watching a sea of smiling faces. The moment you said, put that gold medal around someone's neck, everybody's face is just lit up. We actually had one request for you to actually hang, wave a gold medal on the screen right now. We're not going to force you to do that.
I would have done that if I had thought of that. I would have gotten
That's
one.
okay. That's okay. But it was a great story. Deb or Dominique, anything else?
There's a question in the chat. I answered in the chat, but it's such an important question with this soup. I'm just going to let everyone know, we're using a lot of orzo in this soup. So it's going to be fantastic when you're done cooking and you're going to eat it and love it. But tomorrow you're going to look at this soup, or when it becomes you let it thaw, if you freeze it, and it's going to be all orzo. So add some water or broth as you reheat it. It's still going to be delicious, but it's going to need some thinning out with either water or broth, because it will be like an orzo stew. It just soaks it up, and the orzo continues to grow.
We had our first official post of the word delicious on the chat. I just want to get that out there. Katie, we're going to put you on the spot. You get to test your own soup.
Oh yeah, I've been waiting.
Let us know how you did.
It was a little too hot to try earlier, so here we go.
All right, taste test. It's official.
It's good. Delicious.
I always
Wonderful.
wondered when you're watching the shows where the stars are coming or the chefs come on and cook and the newscaster, somebody tastes it and you have no idea what that tastes like. And they're always saying delicious. Dominique, yesterday when she was saying that it was smelling so good in the studio, was there any smell in the studio? Wait, you're muted.
There was, because I had brought the ingredients to show and I thought I was going to cook, but I was told bring a pot of it cooked because they're going to want to taste it, but they never asked to taste it. It was 7 a.m, so I didn't blame them.
It wasn't a
But
soup.
I had heated it up and it smelled really good. Plus shallots are really strong and I had them all chopped and ready to go because I thought I was going to cook. So the whole studio also smelled like shallots, but
Yeah.
I left it and I'm actually, bringing more back. So it was neat.
Great. So Katie, you really like it, or was that the TV
Yeah.
version of delicious?
No, it was great. It is
Well, we
good.
have cooked really a range of soups. Many of them are vegan and vegetarian, but we've had some lemon soup with meatballs. We've had, we're making a white chicken chili next, not this coming Monday. We're giving everyone a break, I think, on Monday because it's Thanksgiving week. So we're going to get together, anyone who wants to, and talk about soups, and especially talk through a recipe for leftover turkey soup. So we'll get everyone excited and give you a recipe if you want to join us next Monday, not tomorrow. And then the following Monday, November 28th, we're cooking a white chicken chili. And Denise, who introduced us today, will be leading that one. And then we have a nice range of soups for each Monday throughout December, including a butternut squash soup. So it's always something new. It's often not a meat soup, but when there is meat involved, there's always some alternatives. So you can cook it vegetarian or vegan. And it's always a big pot. So you have your dinner made, you get to spend some time together with friendly faces in your kitchen, which depending upon where we stand in the pandemic and in the winter, you don't always get to have friends in the kitchen. So this is a lovely way to get some company right there in with you while you're cooking. And then you give away your soup. So we really hope that you all have enjoyed this. We only have a few minutes left, but we really hope to see you again any Monday. You can always go to the website and get the recipe in advance, do your shopping. Either shop in advance or not. Soup is forgiving, and so are our kind chefs who lead the soups. But we really have been so glad to have all of you here. And Katie, can we say hi to your mom and grandma maybe before we go?
Oh, yeah, let's see if they can unmute it. They're in North Dakota, so it's very cold there. I think they made their soup yesterday or the day before, but I know
Let's hear how they liked it.
We made the soup yesterday and we just loved it, and we're going to have some more tonight. So thank you so much. It was really fun to join the Zoom today too. And this is Katie's grandma.
Hi.
Hi.
Well, I want to thank Mom and Grandma for raising such a lovely girl, Katie. And we have a bunch of thanks in the chat to Katie saying you're an inspiration and appreciating you spending time with us, and Mom and Grandma. Someone said they're so happy their college-age daughter was able to hear you speak. And someone said you are an inspiration and they've been a fan forever. And thanks for being here. There's a giant smile on my face right now. And thank you, Katie, for your endless inspiration and joy, and for Kind Soups for the soup inspiration. So I want to also thank Deb Lang, who I was supposed to introduce and forgot, but Deb is our executive director, and she has an incredible gift of bringing out people's strengths and inviting people in. She knew I like to cook. She invited me to help start Kind Soups. And so I think, like Katie's coach said, maybe you should verbalize this goal. Remember, everybody on here, you can be that person for someone to sort of see their strength and help bring out their strengths.
Thank you.
And Salma, who is our Chief Inspiration Officer, never fails to inspire. So many people, like Julie runs the refugee setup, who was helping to guide the conversation with Katie. And it's KindWorks makes it easy to make a difference. So I hope you'll join us not only for Kind Soups, but for something else, and to take something from today. And we're all thankful with Thanksgiving coming up that we could be together.
Thank you,
Indeed.
Dominique.
Thank you all.
Thank you, Katie.
so much. And you know
Thank
what, everybody,
you.
before we sign off, let me just add to everything Dominique was saying, that this, I hope, has shown everyone, not only would we love you to come and cook with us every Monday, but look what you can do in your own lives, in your own communities. And like Katie said, just find the way to make someone smile. Find the way that you like giving back and making your community better. It's easy and it makes all the difference. So we hope that this was fun for you and it inspires you to keep adding kindness throughout your life.
I just want to add, I
Go ahead,
just want to add one thing to Deb and Dominique and Julie and Katie. For the folks who are new to KindWorks, who are new on the call, please join us. In addition to Kind Soup, please visit our website, see the various projects that we have. It's amazing the work that we can do if we do it together, the fun that we can have together, and the difference that we can make. And just also to echo what everybody has said, it's so important to realize the power that you have to impact one life, and in that way, really change the world. It's by making a difference in one person, in one family, in one situation, in one circumstance, that, you know, it creates that effect of changing our communities and our world. So just hold on to that power and share it as widely as possible.
Wonderful. We got lots of examples in the chat. If while your soup is still cooking, anybody would like to hear some of the ways people are giving away their soup. I'm giving my soup to my elderly neighbor and my niece and nephew who just had a baby yesterday. Congrats to them. What are some other ones? That power, somebody's saying that power should never be underestimated, Salma. Thank you for the reminder.
I'm going to say hi to my daughter who's in California cooking in her dorm. I just saw her face.
I saw that face. Hi, Alice. So Kelly Gray has written to Katie. It's so nice to quote, "See you, Katie. I first met you as a little girl opening doors at LFS, Little Flower Drop Off. You always had the nicest smile on your face." She still does, Kelly, right? You always had the nicest smile on your face. So nice, in fact, that I asked you one day who your orthodontist was. I didn't even know who you were at the time. You weren't the Olympic swimmer that you are now back then. Many years have passed and my family has followed your career. You're every bit the lovely woman that started out as a lovely young girl. Good work, Mom and Grandma. It starts at the top. Bless you all.
Oh, thank you.
Let's see what else we have. Thank you to Katie for being here. My 8-year-old is listening to this Zoom call and she is super excited to see Katie, whom we've watched on TV during the Olympics. My daughter had a question and they swam at the same time you did, my two daughters, but they never made it even to a heat that you were in. You have vanquished a whole generation of young swimmers in Montgomery County, Maryland. But that's good. It gives them something to strive for. She wanted to know, how did you do what you did at the London Olympics and go back to high school and stay grounded?
Well, I'd say my classmates and teachers made that very easy. And they, I think they were, very careful when I came back to make sure that I felt comfortable and like things were normal. So we did an assembly at Stone Ridge for the lower school, middle school, and upper school. And I just answered any question that anyone had, and that kind of got everything on the table. So
being generous with your experience and your time.
Oh yeah. And of course, some of my classmates would ask me questions after that too, but for the most part, everything was answered then. And I got to share a lot of my experiences. And so then it was just back to class.
That's fantastic. somebody has asked us to take a group picture.
Oh,
So,
that's a good idea.
yeah, I am going to ask everyone if they can. I'm going to leave and see if I can get Katie pinned and everybody else. I don't know if I can do this. Yeah, I don't think I can do that. I have to go to full gallery. But if everyone has a minute, give your soup one last stir and then show me your smiles. And let me get a picture of everyone. Ready? And say, Katie Ledecky. Thank you. That is beautiful. Katie, thank you so much. Everybody else, if there are any questions that you have for Dominique, it's your last chance. Everybody's good?
All right, we hope to see anybody who wants to join us a week from Monday. And thank you, Katie. It was just a joy to meet you and Mom and Grandma and be here with every single one of you.
Indeed. Be well, everyone.
Enjoy your soup.
Thank you so much.
That was a success. I think you topped out at about 70